Thank you.
Are you going up to Jersey around? I am. I've been going up a little more often.
Need a nap? Need a nap?
Nap, you said? Oh, yeah.
I could use one.
So, you know, it's not mandatory.
The 1 minute. Well, the clock is right.
Every day, so that's the way I like it.
Janie and I, we said she never changes. We said she looks just like she did when we went to high school. We were just talking about her. Oh, she still got that pretty hair, that pretty skin.
Yeah, we ran into somebody. I don't know where it was. She hadn't seen that in a long time. Oh, we were in Salisbury Saturday at a cousin's birthday party. Some of them.
Somebody drop off some booklets for us.
I believe so.
Same thing.
Just today, Janie stopped by. And we were talking.
It is now 6 o'clock. The Lewes African American Heritage Commission meeting is now in order. Let us just have a moment of silence.
Miss Rachel.
You guys?
Thank you. Sister Trina, you will make announcements.
I have a few announcements. Mr. Jim Abbott, Mr. Bill Collick, and Reverend Edwards will not be in attendance this evening. They are all excused. And mentioning Mr. Bill Collick, I just wanted to give Bill and Jim a plug. Bill and Nancy and his family was featured in the November issue of Lost Neighbors, and Jim has a book out called Designing Camelot, the Kennedy White House Restoration. So that was something going on as far as some of our commission members. The Lewes Historical Society has also a news journal, Volume 24, which features more of the African American history. I don't have that book with me today. I left it home, but they just put out a new book that features several editions of African American history this time around. And let's see. The Lewes Historical Society also had their first symposium entitled A Long-Lasting Shame, Slavery in Delaware from 1700 to 1865 this past Saturday, which was very interesting. I was able to attend. Southern Delaware Alliance has released a publication called Black Voices, and they are looking for contributors for future release, which the next submission is December 15th through the 28th, and this is the latest submission that they had called Black Voices. It was in one of the local newspapers over the past 2 weeks. I think it was in the Cape Gazette. And so they are looking for contributors, and if anyone from the Lewes African American Heritage Commission would like to make a contribution to their journal, they would welcome that. The Board of Adjustment hearing ruling was for the City of Lewes. in the Lewes Historical Society situation. We're still hopeful that there can be some type of reconciliation that can be attained between both organizations. And the last original black-owned structure, a house that will be demolished, that's on 4th Street soon. So I think that I will take a picture of the house so that we can remember that as part of our African American history. I think it's 2 houses down from St. George. And finally, there was a glitch in the video recording last month of the African American history meeting, and I mentioned it to Miss Anne Marie. I don't think that's going to be something that can be resolved.
I can't remember, did we Zoom it? So we might have it on Zoom. It didn't even occur to me, because there have been a handful of meetings where, for some reason, the video just,
Glitched out.
It doesn't populate like it's supposed to on YouTube.
Right.
And then it stops like maybe 5 seconds in, and then it's like
so,
completely gone.
okay, so we can check the Zoom tomorrow. I didn't even think of it.
So, but if anybody was trying to look at it, I just wanted to mention that it was there was some glitches, and it was happening all through the video. So, but we have minutes, so.
And what we'll do is, if we can get that fixed with a backup from Zoom, we will let you know so that you can get it out.
And that was it for me, Reverend.
Thank you. I'd just like to say that the house that you're talking about is on Park Avenue.
Oh, what did I say, 4th Street?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're right. It is Park Avenue.
So it's interesting because the actual address says Ship Carpenter Street on the,
It changes.
so that's, yeah, but what's your address?
Park Avenue.
So I don't know why that one comes up as Ship Carpenter, but yeah, same house, yes.
Yeah. So we're at item C. You've all received the minutes and have had a chance to review them. So the floor is open for a motion.
I'm so moved that we approve the
I second. It's been moved and properly second that the minutes be accepted as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposals? The ayes have it. We have next the update on the marker from Peter Lewes.
Okay, well, I'll do this with you. First of all, thank you for listening last time, and I hope you read it, and I hope you know all about what the application says. Really, they're going to end up writing the description. It won't be us, but we have to give them, our information, which is what we've done. And Reverend McCafferty, do you want to talk about the documents that you included with our application as well? The letter from...
Yes, we have given the commission permission to have the marker situated at St. George's Cemetery on Pilot Town Road. And so we had to give them a letter of consent, and that has been included with the application.
And also included, I don't know that it was part of the document or not, but also included is our research that we did. That's also part of our application. And thank you, Lewes Historical Society, and Denise, because she will be the one sending it all if we approve it tonight. So we're just waiting now for an approval from our commission, and then we can send it on.
I think we approved.
No,
We didn't?
Because it was not on the agenda.
Oh, okay.
So that's why we made sure it said impossible.
Gotcha.
So if somebody's got a motion for that,
I make a motion that we approve the information on the historical marker and send it on to the state archives people.
I second.
It's been properly moved and second that the application be sent to the New York, Delaware State Archives for their approval. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
Hallelujah.
Is there any, for item E, is there any update on volunteer research?
Yes, I do have a little volunteer update. I did talk to Ms. Susan Gokler and reviewed with her what the city solicitor said about intellectual property and informed her that it can also be referenced in last month's minutes. And I informed her that at her earliest convenience to schedule a meeting with the volunteers so that that can be conveyed and we can move forward. And the other volunteer research update I had was that Miss Alicia did inform me that she is working on the 1850 to 1860 census for the slavery project, and she is alphabetizing, and she said it will show by slave owner and what happened. She hopes it shows by slave owner and what happened to the slaves and that were in their possession, and hoping that it'll tie into the neighborhood tracing of the residents and their families and their names. And that's all I had, ma'am.
I have a question regarding the Education Committee. So have they met, or are they planning?
Miss Susan said they have not met since we were trying to resolve that, but she will get that back on track.
Thank you. Any comments on either of those committee actions? The Education Committee is the one that was waiting the results of the intellectual property. And the other is Miss Alicia working on trying to reclaim or gather some history regarding slaves in Lewes. Does anyone have any comments, or are there any volunteers to work on either of those committees?
I wonder if she was on this call. Are there any? Is Alicia on the call? Alicia Jones.
Yes, she's on.
Thank you, Alicia. You're awesome.
Okay. We want to have her give us an update.
Her hand was up.
Okay, yes, please. Miss Alicia, can you hear us? Can you speak?
Yeah, Trina, as a result of going to that symposium, I found out that I could go back from 1800 into the 1700s looking at tax records, because there was a tax on slaves. So I'm realizing that I can really sort of maybe add more information in prior years than 1800. So I haven't talked to anyone at the archives, but assuming that they have those records, I'm not as far along as I thought I was, because I don't know when those records started. The other thing is there is, when you look at the census data, Lewes is not often shown by itself. One year they skipped Lewes, actually, and often they combine Rehoboth and Lewes 100, which is a term I keep hearing different definitions of. So it may not just be Lewes slave owners and slaves. It may also include Rehoboth.
I don't know the boundaries for that period, how far off Rehoboth was, but even on some of our property, which is from the 1800s, it's called Rehoboth.
The hundreds are a way of doing land that I think is unique to Delaware. So the Lewes Rehoboth 100 is a very large area. It's
Yeah.
much larger than Lewes and Rehoboth. So
Interesting.
Thank you, Miss Alicia.
You're welcome.
There has been some discussion regarding Johnnie Walker Beach and Savannah Beach. Amen. And would you like to?
What I did include in our information and in the link, the report that Ms. Kay Carnahan sent the commission. So you do have that, and I hope you had an opportunity just to review, and that'll give you an overall assessment of what's been done. And discussions on the possible pavilion is still ongoing with DENREC, so there's that. And in the information that Ms. Kay mentioned, she mentioned about signage, and also she also contacted the Lewes Chamber of Commerce to include the beaches under their new names in their upcoming brochure.
Thank you. And speaking of the beaches, I'm making an appeal now. We're very happy and proud that they are going to acknowledge Johnnie Walker's contribution to the area by naming the beach after him. But we need volunteers to gain more information regarding the colored beach, period, because it's not just about Johnnie Walker. So we need volunteers to help gather research concerning that.
Agreed.
You have time to think about it, and you on the line also to consider
But I
that.
mean, two people that really, I think, helped wow her were Bill Colick and his stories, and Reverend Edwards, who's not here. Neither of them are here, but their stories should be captured. And also, I think your stories and your stories as well. It'd be nice if they captured them orally.
And I have also, some people have made contact with me and said that they have additional pictures that they would like to forward, or at least that I can take pictures of the picture. I don't necessarily want the original, but I can take a good enough picture with my iPad to suffice, unless they want to donate the pictures, then of course we will accept them. But they have indicated that they have some that they would like to share with the commission.
There is also history concerning that beach, that and we do want Ms. Lott's input and Mr. Colick and Reverend Edwards, but there were events and happenings prior to their birth that we also want to capture.
And also, if we can, the military presence that also enjoyed the beach as well. So I think Reverend Edwards said he may have some information about that as well.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
It's exciting, and we're excited because not only, and I know you read it, and I remember, I think it's in there, but not only will there be a marker specifically for Johnnie Walker, but there will be side markers and the table stand markers, just with different descriptions regarding that beach. Amen.
I think you're right, Reverend, that is exciting, and Ms. Kay said that she's looking to, to work that into her next upcoming budget and all of that kind of thing. So meetings will be ongoing about that, and she is coordinating with the African American Heritage Commission.
Wouldn't it be cool if we could get some students at the high school to help gather information and gather stories too? I mean, they know how to use all that technology, and I would think it'd be fascinating for the students too, to be part of a project. I don't know.
Yes, it would be. And also, I'd just like to also stress that no information is too insignificant. So sometimes people might have one bit of something and think, oh, well, that's all I have. But please, whatever anyone has is important.
Right, and that's the one thing that I emphasize with people who say, about pictures that they may want to give, and I'm not just looking at the people in the picture, I'm looking at the background, because it may have a home or something that may be relevant to the story.
I still remember Reverend Edwards at our last meeting told the story about trying to baptize the woman that was in a wheelchair. I don't, that would be a wonderful thing to capture audio anyway, I think. That was cool.
He is on the list for a oral history. It's so many people.
Yeah. Good. And I'm glad that's moving along. Next, we have been requested by the Public Arts Commission to give us a presentation about some art exhibits and some potential things they would like. Mr. Cliff Diver
Is here, yes.
Madam Chairman, committee, first of all, I want to thank you very much for all the hours and the hard work you put in for our community. It's really appreciated. I would tell you that my first 2 years here, we only went to the colored beach because, ironically, there was a lot more freedom there to do what you wanted to do than the police beach. And anyway, so I talked to Trina. Your City of Lewes Art Committee is doing a project. As you may or may not know, we've been trying to work for about 3 years now in instilling art into the community, and we are trying to make it a community-wide event and effort and kind of put that spirit into everyday life for everybody here in town, the people that live here and the people that visit. One of our projects that we are going to do this year involves an artist who works on commemorating memories, and it's the Absentee Monument series. Now, you were sent pictures, and they posted them.
Yeah.
There are two aspects to this that we've chosen. The first one are these pillars, which look like obelisks of mirrors, and we intend to put those two pieces over in behind the Savannah Museum. This artist works with mirrors and reflections because you're reflecting about things that you're missing, and what she puts on the bottom of that is some localized information, something you may want to memorialize. And for those two, they collect photographs, and she takes photographs, and those in this section that you don't have pictures of these two, I don't think.
I have. We have of the
And they
obelisk.
put them on. She makes them look like a little Dutch porcelain ceramics, and we're going to try and make a monument to open space on those, which is something that Lewes used to have a lot of, and we fight to hold on to. And that's an interesting, overlooked idea of like our history. Now, the piece in front of you, it turns out there are actually going to be two of these. And these pieces, it's a little hard to see from the photograph, but if you imagine an onion, and you sliced a wedge out of that onion, and you put a toothpick through the very tiny tip and split them out, you can see it has the capacity to be a round object, and on these round objects there's a mirror on one side, and there are images on the other side. And I called Trina up and I said, listen, we really would like to do something with Black heritage because it's important and has been another, talk about an absentee monument, it kind of defines that. And our idea is to put these two, I don't even think, I thought it was one, but she said, no, there's two. To put these in George H.P. Smith Park, sort of on the corner, accessible from the end of Park Avenue, where you would be able to see them and everybody would see them walking to the farmer's market and anybody sort of taking the park. The dimensions are in there, but what I called Trina for was we need some help. Denise is really doing a super job with the Historical Society, and she's assimilated some photographs. But what we wanted to do is ask you if you would provide us with a person who we could use to choose the photographs that would go on and be represented on the inside of these things that will actually spin around. So depending on how they get displayed, you will see more or less of something. In furthering a discussion, we will finalize this the 1st of December at our meeting. But we kind of need to actually get these pictures chosen and forwarded to the artist at that time, because she's got at least a 3-month lead time to sort of edit the pictures and decide the scale and put them together and give us a proof idea that we can approve coming back. So we're really looking for someone who can work with Denise through those files, and then my personal preference, which I really wanted to get your feedback on, is I feel that historical markers, when they're really general, don't mean so much. And when I moved here, and I was telling people about Lewes, and I moved here in the 70s, and so I was very, very proud of the heritage of the Happy Day Club. And when I could tell people the musicians, and you think about the genius and that was shared in that room and how important that was to me, I mean, it really didn't have anything to do with African American history. It was just so crazy cool that I just told everybody I could about it. And I was hoping that maybe one of these, if you make a specific reference to a specific place, then that kind of creates a stronger impact and a stronger memory, and it actually tells maybe a better story than a generalized story. So whoever you would choose, if you would choose, and I hope you will, someone to work with us, mostly working with Denise, I would like that considered as a possible theme for one of them. We've gone back and forth on this, and I kind of feel like if not that, then something else, and probably not a net reel. But I feel like we could come up with something that's poignant, that is different, that makes Lewes special. And I know some of these are beautiful pictures of important people, but I feel like the public, if it's going to have an impact in a moment and just walk up to something, they're not going to go and do the research based on a picture, a face that they see, and we want to try and tell the best story that we can. So I'm asking for you, if you would, to appoint someone or find someone in the next week who can work with me and work with Denise Clemens and to move this project forward. We're going to move forward. If you think it's a bad idea, you should tell me that too. But so tell me what you think.
I have a question, Cliff. Are all the portraits headshots? I mean, they
don't have to be. They can be buildings. They could be objects. They could be.
That's what I was going to ask as well, because I was thinking about the churches. Because, I was like, let's not necessarily do the Happy Day Club when we have such other rich history like the churches. We was going back and forth on that.
That's a great idea. No,
Yeah,
I like that.
So, I thought that would be something, even the graveyard, that as well as, something that, would be memorable.
I think that what we're looking for is empowerment of someone to work with us. We won't be back to your committee before this is done. So we're gonna, because we meet on December 1st. We're gonna. I mean, not December. Yeah, December 1st.
Earlier.
Is that coming close?
It's coming close.
That's very close, and that's my question. I understand you're under pressure, but why so late
Well, because
requesting?
unlike any other city committee, we just we didn't decide this until a few weeks ago. But when we're deciding this, we don't have that sense of we do work fast. I mean, the whole process, that piece in the H.P. Smith Park, that came from an idea to installation in 6 weeks. The mural that we did, which went from an idea of having the mural to putting it out for artists, to reviewing them, to having it up in 6 weeks. So we work really fast. And I think that we don't have to use, we can put this off till probably the end of December. I think I got confused. We're gonna commission it the 1st of December. We have to know what we're gonna put on it by the end of December. But I think also, but when you say you're going to get these slices of reflection within this piece, and it's going to be hard to show. You won't really get the vision of a church. Because it's not going to be small. It's going to be a larger scale. So you're going to get a window of a church, and a spire of a church. So the question to me is, and I like the church idea, is how do you pick an image that would convey more than just a sliver of that history? Because that's all we get. And this is really about the piece of art. This isn't so much about we're trying to be a distribution center for a history lesson, but we want to spark an idea, and so it's a little complicated because the surfaces are narrow. But if you want to participate,
Can a picture be elongated?
Yes.
Because I've seen, things like that, and then if the picture is elongated of the church, maybe that would be something that could be considered.
absolutely. I think that what we would probably want to do is grab 30 pictures and send them to the artist, and the artist will then take the pictures and say, well, this one I can use, or this one really wouldn't work so well, and if I stretch it, it won't be recognizable. So,
The Happy Day Club was a building.
yeah. I was
Same
hoping there were some
principle.
internal shots,
like dancing, like a picture
like a
of
dancing shot, or, I mean, who knows what we could find.
But the thing is, with that is you're not going to get from, you're not going to get a snapshot of when it was Count Basie there or whatever.
That's
that.
right.
There's no shots of that.
Well, I mean,
There's
I
only
didn't
shots
know.
of the 70s from when,
that's a little different.
in the 60s maybe.
Well,
Not anything that,
Well, if that doesn't work, that's fine too. I mean, we're not trying to push it or force anything. We're just trying to find something that can work. And with the two different spheres, and we imagine them to be about 40 feet apart, like one's almost like right at the end of the street, and then one off at an angle. But they could be this. It could be a mishmash of everything, or it could be two separate ideas. But
Could it be, let me ask you this, just thinking, I mean, we have the beaches as well, but, you know, at one time there was the beach that said whites only. You know, I mean, I'm just saying that, you know, that's part of the.
well, remember, we're decorating an art piece. We're not. You won't get enough. You won't get enough surface to make that kind of strong impression of a political. And also, one thing that's kind of fun to me was like, when I came, this town was pretty loose, and there was a lot of fun to be had over there. It wasn't all about, the oppression part of life for everybody, and that's why I kind of like the Happy Day Club. But I don't suppose there's pictures of the ball field and people playing ball over there, but I don't know what we have, so it's hard
There's
for me
one
to say.
picture I know, but it wasn't it was in the newspaper of the ball players, but again, it's not this.
Yeah, but it's the same principle,
Yeah, it
whatever
is.
picture
You can take a
use.
slice and get 3 ball players in it, but go ahead.
You said it's not for a historical reason. So are you saying there will be no narrative attached to
No.
the thing at all?
Well, there will be we do a sign. It's about the size of your portfolio there, and it'll have the name of the artist, have the name of the work, and we could probably get a few letters. But it's really not designed to be like a historical marker or historical display, because we're trying to keep. I mean, art has many different functions. It can decorate, it can educate, it can energize, and it can stupefy. And I think that what we are trying to do here is have this element of education, but what's really probably going to affect people more is the art object itself, which is going to be kind of strange and weird. And it's the context. So you're not the major show here, and I don't mean to in any way try and say this is going to be a. It's just there were a lot of different ideas of what we could attach to this as photographs, and I thought you guys you would maybe be interested in participating.
And we are.
Good.
I'm jumping back to her idea, which she didn't say to me, about the churches, and I'm not sticking on St. George just because I'm the pastor, but because of its historical significance in this community, and anything that you garner concerning African Americans, especially early history, will come out of St. George.
All right. Well, I just hope you have the pictures. I mean, I've been to some mostly funerals when I go there, but I mean, that's a powerful place. And inside is a powerful place.
I was going to say, it could also be a picture of a window or even the church kitchen. That's what I think of when
I mean, you could take this abstract idea. We're going to take these snippets of our community. Let's not try and sell the program. Here's the box of the church, but
Well, that's not what I'm trying to do.
Yeah,
I'm saying that was a suggestion that was made that I agree with, and you're leaning towards other stuff. I'm not saying that it has to be in a box.
This would not be my choice. I mean, I am not the person that's going to. I'm asking you to decide what to put on there. I'm turning it over to you. So you're not going to get a lot of editing. I'm just trying. I was saying that as that object spins around and it will move in the wind, and you're going to have different segments. So, like you say, somebody in the kitchen or somebody in the service, or the windows. I mean, all of that would, I think, be much more interesting to look at in the context than just the box of here's what our church used to look like. So I think it's the living part, the using part, which connects to human beings in an artistic thing, because then person could see themselves in that kitchen. They could see themselves in that pew. But and trying to live in the context of what life was like or what existed there. It's an absentee monument, so it's like things that we don't make monuments of, and is the theory of the artist.
We're going to have two. We could have one of the church scene, whether you're showing the pastors or whether you're showing
You get one of the
inside or the outside. You could have that on one, and on the other you could have
Schools.
stores or, that used to exist here, or,
Right.
the baseball teams we used to have
And
here. I don't know, but some other part
And
of
there
town.
is a picture that I do have, again, it still would have to be adjusted, but of Jason band and all of them marching to the field, Ship Carpenter Square, and with the majorette, and all of that. So, I mean, there's some things that can be considered, but it
also,
still would have to be adjusted,
Well, that's what
scale.
the artist is going to have to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I'm
I
just
think
saying
what
there
we
are
want to do is we
some
want to give her a
things.
bunch of raw material and see what she does with it, which is kind of the way you work with artists. But I love that, because it also connects to the space, and I think that's why we're thinking it that way. You probably don't remember me, but I remember you.
Oh, Deke! I didn't see.
Bishop.
I'm sorry. No. This is a great man here. He is a great man. I've been to his church. Go ahead.
I understand what you're saying, and the reason, I came from Fruitland, Maryland. Now, if you go through Salisbury now, I understand what you're saying. Coming from Cambridge, there's a big mirror on that coming into Salisbury with African Americans like Professor Chipman, who was the principal there, and other entrepreneurs in the area. And the same thing is on a building on 13, going north, 13 and 50. And like Johnnie Walker Beach, I'm just throwing this out there right now, if he was, he was so like an entrepreneur here, so I think, my idea, I would think about putting what you're talking about with his picture on there and get a picture of that beach building over there where a lot of the record hops and everything was going on.
I have a picture of the building.
Yeah, well, Steve, you need a picture of him.
I would have to get the picture of Mr. Walker, probably from the family, or somewhere in a newspaper, maybe, but
Something like
you're
that.
right. I do have a picture of
Then if you're coming into Lewes, you got a railroad track there with a big building right there.
Right, I know that space very well. It's one of our identified spaces for a piece of art.
The new road is getting to explode.
The issue,
People coming in that way could know that African Americans were pioneers here and helped make the town. Besides the graveyard, there was dry cleaners here and stores here, Happy Day Club. So that was just an idea that I thought about way back, but I never said anything about it.
but it's one of their first ideas. We are in total agreement here. That land is controlled by the Steets roads people.
LDOT?
Yeah, and I've gotten permission from DelDOT to do something there, but it's a many-step process. And right now, our what we're doing is temporary artwork. We're testing the waters. We're throwing the stuff out there, and we had an amazing meeting 2 weeks ago with over 50 people from Lewes showing up.
And we all talked about what public art is all about, and how it's a community building experience, and how public art really is, the actual object is probably not the highest and most important part of the process. And it's about people enjoying it and learning it. And that place, we thought about having, that's a great idea. We could have something at the front of the town and then something in town, and when you get it, you make the connection after you've arrived. But, I can inquire about putting one up. It's just to go to the state, you have 6 months of committees. And
If it's on private property.
I don't.
You had a billboard there on private property.
Well, the billboard issue there is Dickie Bryan's billboard. And you can't, and he's got that all tied up with stuff. And I think even with the city, permission to use that as a billboard, because it's not, I don't know. But it's a complicated area. And what we're doing right now is a 3-month or 4-month art installation. And I think for something more permanent, that's where we go to that area and say this could be a permanent. It also tells the city, the world, that Lewes cares about public art and what we put there. But I'm sorry, I didn't recognize you.
Fine. You would never known if I was.
As soon as you spoke, that's all I needed. I beg your pardon.
But it was just, what you're saying makes sense, because a picture is worth more than 1,000 words, what I hear. Mm-hmm. And you got St. George Church. Maybe that could be done, what you're talking about, with just one unit spinning around, sitting right there at the corner of the church. Mm-hmm. People walk up and down that sidewalk all the time. You get the art festival here and all that.
Do you want to be on the art committee?
There are other,
Well, this is my 5th meeting this week, so I'm full.
That's a no.
yeah, well, we will definitely, I guess, have some discussion regarding this, but also there are people who still have descendants here who were way before Johnnie Walker and those. You have the Rileys, you have the Dunnings, and perhaps some of those people have an old photo of one of their ancestors.
I do know that Mr. Riley, I think he does have a photo of an ancestor, Mr. Lewis Riley.
About Mr. Mills Coursey, who had the cleaners right here on the corner by the hospital.
Well,
His son's still living.
There's a lot of great ideas here, and I don't
And
want
I
to
do
tie you
have a
up on
picture of that as well, that corner.
But if you can approve the idea of us using that, and then I just need a name, and then you won't hear from me until we show you what we're trying to do. So.
Okay, we need a motion that one or two people from the committee will be willing to work on the project with Ms. Clemens.
I make a motion. Is that the motion? I second.
No, that's not.
Okay.
Sorry. That's the motion I want.
I make a motion that we have one or two people to work with Ms. Clemens on the public art project that Mr. Cliff Diver is proposing.
A second.
Great.
Give me the number.
Well, I have a question about the motion. Is that, are you talking about one or two commission members and then other volunteers, kind of what we do with our
commission.
committee, or do you mean just commission people would do it?
Commission members.
But would other people join them?
Commission members.
You possibly could put the word out and ask for anybody to submit, but because we're going to be moving so
It's
fast on
time
this,
constraint.
Yeah,
I have a lot of pictures.
We can only have two. That's the rule. You can only have two commissioners there.
Well,
But
that's
I
what I
didn't
said.
know if you meant we would have our two, and have other people involved as well.
It
I
really
don't
means,
care.
it
I'm
kind of
just
means like
asking.
going over Denise's box. She's got that, she's separated everything in terms of the African-American history and their photographs. So she's got that, going over and picking out 10 photographs or 20 photographs and then seeing
And then seeing what
you
pictures
think-
have already been submitted to
and what the,
us, our
and what the
commission.
gap is. And so it's probably 2 afternoons' work. And I don't think we need 2 people. We just need, 2 people is always more fun.
I do, we do.
Okay.
Because,
Volunteer from one.
because someone's going to have to do the work.
Well, I'll second the motion.
Help, I don't, because I have the pictures that have been submitted to me, so.
Great.
Wait, I'll second the motion. We haven't voted yet.
Yes.
There are 2 things going on.
I make the motion,
Yeah.
let me make I make the motion that 2 commission members work on the project, the public arts project, and work with with Ms. Clemens of the Lewes Historical Society to forward pictures for the project.
To the Public Arts Commission, right?
Right.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and properly second that we participate by having 2 people work with Ms. Clemens. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Who could ask
And
for
now the
anything
next
more?
issue was, we have a volunteer.
We had 2 volunteers. All right, thank you very much. Jean, any other
You're
questions?
welcome.
Okay, I think it'll be really fun, and we don't really know, we're not as organized as you are, so it's always fun to see how it turns out.
Thank you for your presence, your
Thank you.
presentation.
So Trina, who's the other, you and who?
Bishop.
Oh, Bishop.
No, Miss Rachel asked who were the volunteers. She asked, and I said Bishop and myself will assist.
So we have 2 people who have volunteered to work on this project, and that is Bishop Arthur Jones and Miss Trina Brown Hicks. Thank you.
Where are we?
On H, Juneteenth update. Juneteenth.
The only update that I have is that because the commissioners who live near me, that I had an opportunity to have a conversation with Mr. Harry Kaiser and Mr. Ed Tesson, who are excited about the possibility of Juneteenth being in George H.P. Smith Park. So that's just that. And Miss Janet Reeves, who is the chair of Parks and Recs, is also excited. So more to come on that, because I know there's a committee that needs to form to iron out some of those details. That's all I have.
There should be, and this is for commission members and outside volunteers, but we need some people to work on Juneteenth so that we can have a consensus and all be on the same page as to location, as to activities and time, and
Mr. Colick, although he's not here, he did say that he would be willing to work on that.
I would also.
Ms. Lott.
Would we be partnering with any other groups in town, or would it just be our commission?
This will be a commission-sponsored event. And all of us, hopefully, will be
all of us.
giving some input regarding
I
the
just think
affair.
if you partner with, say, the Alliance, you could get a lot more attendance, or you partnered with, say, the
I
Lions
think all of
Club,
those things are things that's why we want a committee, so that those kind of details can be ironed out and presented to the commission.
And at this point, I think the sooner the better to start working on that, because it does take months of planning and coordination. So the sooner the better. We did have a date. It was the last Saturday in June.
Yeah. Wasn't that like the 28th, I believe?
I wrote it down.
25th, I think.
Yeah, 25th.
25th?
Yes. And I did have one other thing. I did receive a call from Miss, I don't have her name here, but oh yes I do, Miss Bridget Warner from the Zwannendale Museum. She contacted me the other day requesting a speaker from the commission for their Juneteenth program, which is actually on June 18th of 2022 at 4 p.m. if anyone was interested. But I did inform her that many of our members do already attend the Juneteenth program at Georgetown, at the Richard Allen facility there. So I'm not sure, if someone would be available to, or, want to do the one at Zwannendale, but we were also planning our own celebration. So I'm just putting that out there that she did ask for a speaker concerning Juneteenth for the Zwannendale.
They have the one in Georgetown, right? Well, I know that. I've been over there. But are you going to do the same thing that they're doing in Georgetown?
So we did
Dale,
at
or the library?
Oh, no.
no. I think the Zwannendale is just a speaker series. It's just they have speakers that talk about, like one year they had a speaker series to talk about black feet on white sands or something like that, which talked about the black beaches and segregation, and it was just speakers. So I think they're just looking for someone to talk about the significance of what Juneteenth means. So, but that does conflict with the Juneteenth celebration in Georgetown.
I have a question. My understanding was they also wanted somebody to speak about the commission and the work of the commission. So not just to talk about Juneteenth, but also to talk about the work that you all are doing so that it has a bigger audience. Was I incorrect in that?
I think she mentioned a couple things. She mentioned the work of getting the renaming of the beach, and she said, but it could be open to whatever would be significant to the commission. But again, there's a conflict of date.
Their affair is, what time?
It's at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
So I know that the Juneteenth celebration is usually all day.
It's all day.
I wonder if they would consider taping a speaker and then showing that at 4 o'clock at the Zwannendale.
That, I don't know, that would be their decision.
But I mean, if somebody knew a lot about the history of the Juneteenth, they could speak and have it recorded, get Calvin to record it, and then show it.
Are they committed to that date and time? I mean, I would think if they, given it's a Juneteenth celebration and most people are going to be in Georgetown for the,
So I'm not sure if they were aware of, I don't know what their awareness is about the Juneteenth celebrations that are already happening in Sussex County, but...
Seaford has one.
And Seaford has one, and Dover has one as well. But, the 4 o'clock time frame may be okay if, because I know I don't spend the whole day at Juneteenth, and I don't know if anybody else does, but, Reverend McCafferty did a wonderful Juneteenth discussion last year at our commission
And at the mayor and council meeting.
and at the mayor and council meeting, so, that might be a consideration. You were going to say something, Reverend, before.
Agenda. Yeah, the update, the Juneteenth, I was just going to say what you just said. Concerning Juneteenth celebrations, they're all day long, and nobody stays unless they're a vendor or a participant in, a dancer or something. Nobody will be at one Juneteenth from the time they open until it's over. So there's some leeway that you could make a speech.
Put it in a book like this and pass it out to people. They have something reading.
Okay, we can get back to her.
Oh, absolutely. We do have
If
time.
nobody else is willing, I'd be honored to do it.
Yeah. So I just wanted to put that out there because, it came and I thought it was great to have offered and thought about us.
And Juneteenth, we need assistance, thank you. And the main thing, and especially since this is our first celebration, we don't anticipate that it will be huge like Georgetown. What did she have? 3 or 4 food trucks and native dancers and poetry. But the point I want us to know and understand why we really need help and input is because we need people to reach out to potential vendors to come and participate.
Absolutely. And that was one of the things that we did do when we visited the Juneteenth celebration this past year in Georgetown is we tried to make contacts with some of those vendors and
Sussex County started in Seaford.
And so we did get some vendor information and cards and things, so perhaps, I'm making a suggestion,
I have the
Trina
list.
can share some of the numbers for, just so we could make initial calls and it not be all on one person. Because these people that participate, and you can correct me, Mr. Lima, they generally participate in more than one Juneteenth celebration on different dates. So the quicker you can get them before they have made their other commitment to another celebration, the better.
Right, and I think the one thing that does set us aside somewhat is that I do know the one in Dover and the one in Georgetown, I'm not sure about the one in Seaford, they are all on that Juneteenth date, and we have set our date for another day. Now, I don't know about other organizations or whatever that may have, but that's why the sooner the better. We want to reach out and contact. In fact, I got business cards from 2 food truck, they were minority vendors.
And then some of them also, that's not their only game.
Right. So they may already be
Yeah, they may
somewhere,
already-
you know, so that's why.
And you might talk to the people in Georgetown and see what vendors they have, and see if they would
have.
come on the 25th to Lewes.
Yeah, we have talked to them, and that's what I'm asking, if she could share some of those numbers with different ones of us, so it won't be cumbersome on one person, then we each could maybe call a vendor.
I'll email the list to
You
them.
know, when, this is just getting back to those little Swan and Dale speaker series, you know, you were aware of this when we on the, African American, I'm forgetting the name of it now, the commission, when we had our town hall, and we had the poetry event, and Leonia Robinson did her talk. Well, I guess you wouldn't call it a talk, it wasn't a rap. But, yeah, when she did that in the church, and Calvin filmed it, it was one of the best things, I think, of all of our presentation, and it was all visual, so if somebody could come film you in your church talking about it and talking about the commission, and then let them just show it at the meeting. Because it's just a speaker, it's not an event, right?
I'm not quite sure how they have it set up, because it's their event, so.
I thought you said it was like a speaker series.
They usually have those speaker series, but I'm not quite sure how this one is. And I mean, they may do a film event since COVID had hit and all of that, but I'm not 100% of the details
Gotcha.
of how they plan on doing this.
Yeah.
And so that would be some information, I guess, for Miss Bridget Warner.
Amen. So you will find out more
I will.
information about logistics.
I will.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other business or any public comments?
The only other thing is that I had the gentleman, oh gosh, his name escapes me, but anyway, he said he would drop off some brochures, and I asked him, would he include, or would there be an opportunity to include some information about the beach in this as well, and so there is opportunity. So that's why I gave everyone, he dropped this off to us here, so just so that you all can look through it. That's all.
Thank you. Are there any public comments? None. Come in. So our next meeting is scheduled for the,
December 16th, I believe.
wow, that's the third Thursday?
We're going to be in all Christmas mode.
The 16th.
Am I right?
You should skip it.
Is that?
No, that's the,
December 16th is the next meeting date. That's the third Thursday in the month.
Thursday, yeah.
December what?
16th.
There's 5 Thursdays this month.
I already know I won't be here. I know that I won't be here unless it's,
So unless there's, I know,
We have Advent
I
that
listened to-
day.
I listened to some of the other commission meetings, and they might not be having their meetings.
skip in December.
Just wait until January.
Yeah.
So why don't you make that motion?
Yeah, I make a motion, we table it till January.
Okay.
Is there a second? A second. It's been moved and properly second that we have our next meeting in January and not meet for the month of December. I'm adding stuff to the motion, right? Unless it's an emergency. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
And I just wanted to say, just a comment, is that I think our commission has been doing pretty good. We have met, I believe, every month of the year without a break,
Yeah.
including one special meeting. So
Yeah.
I think we may deserve the month of December.
Your Christmas break.
And we'll still get together with
Christmas
Mr.
break.
Diver during this time.
So thank you all for coming, and if there's no further business, this meeting is adjourned.
Have a nice
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
I thought you made the motion and then
What did you
seconded,
say?
and then I realized you made the motion.
Happy Thanksgiving and
Oh, yeah.
Christmas.
And happy Thanksgiving all.